All right, guys, right here, we're just going to do this quick intro, this quick warm-up, where we're going to factor into two binomials. You can see I already have GCF listed first, and if you actually look at 1 and 2, there is no GCF, okay, because this is like saying a 1x squared. If you actually look 1, this is going to look weird. You're not going to really see this. I'm just going to show this for the warm-up. This 0 and this 4. Other than 1, nothing really else goes into it, so there is no GCF. Now, this goes back to, remember when we did the x chart? Number chart is when you have a number before the x squared. If the number before the x squared is just 1, this is where we do the x chart. Now, remember the top is this constant. I'm going to put -4, or let's just put 4. And then this is the sum, so I'm going to put 0. Now, since this is a negative, I'll put a -4. Since that's a negative, what that's telling me is I want two numbers right here and here that subtract to give me 0. So they need to be opposites of each other. One's positive, one's negative. Well, factors of 4 are 2 and 2. So one has to be negative and one has to be positive. Right? If I add these up, -2 plus 2, that gives me 0. And if I multiply, -2 times 2 gives me -4. So what this is telling me, this factors to x minus 2, x plus 2. Okay? Now, normally, you're not going to see it written this way, that x squared plus 0x minus 4. This is kind of redundant here. 0 times anything 0. You're really going to see number 1 written as this. So this is kind of a special case. This is called difference of two squares. All right? 2 squared gives you 4, and x squared gives you x squared. All right, but I just did that just to emphasize that these numbers in here should be opposites, because -2 plus 2 gives us that 0. Okay, let's move on to the second one. Now again, I'm kind of emphasizing it. Number 2, there's no GCF. And let's do the x chart. Not the number chart, we're going to do the x chart because it's a 1x squared. So up here I get -9, and then this is the sum of 0. So since that sum is 0, I have to have opposites. I have to have the same number. So I'm asking myself, all right, what number times itself is going to give me 9? Well, it's 3. Right? I know 3 times 3 is 9. I have to make one of them negative. So this works, right? -3 plus 3 gives me 0, and -3 times 3 gives me that -9. So this is telling me this factors to x minus 3 times the quantity of x plus 3. All right, and then we'll kind of relay this into the problems that are down low. This x squared plus 0x minus 9, you're not going to see it written that way. You're just going to see it as x squared minus 9. So if there's no x or there's no middle term, that kind of gives you a hint. It's this difference of two squares pattern where these numbers are opposites. This is -3. This is +3. All right, so that's a little brief intro. Next video, we'll get to the other ones where we're only given two terms and we're not even given this 0x.